Hello?
Dahlia,
Yes,
how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Good morning.
Good morning. So I'm gonna get straight to the point. I'm not gonna hold up any of your time. When did you first meet Tupac?
I actually met Tupac back when I was about 17 years old. I met him in New York. I actually was hanging out with a friend, and we decided to go and, go hang out in New York. And we were hanging out at a strip club, and Digital Underground, Pac, a couple other people were at that particular club, hanging out. So they invited my friend and I, to hang out with them. I was very adamant, really didn't want to go. So she said that, that she wanted to go. During that time of our first meeting, we actually got into a verbal altercation. My friend wanted to stay. I didn't want to stay. I didn't feel comfortable. So my friend ended up hanging out with them. I sat outside, the front of the hotel. And, that first interaction was kind of like, wow. He was like, well, are you going to F and stay in, or are you going to get the F out? And so I responded, actually, I responded, I'll beat you up. So we went from that to a couple of weeks later, him tracking me down, trying to figure out was this girl, this and that and the third. And so kind of after that, we ended up meeting up at my aunt's house. Actually, not really meeting up. He found out, where I was staying, whatever, and I was staying with my aunt. And he ended up coming, apologizing, saying, "Oh, hey, I'm sorry. I was I was an asshole." And we ended up, being cool after that. But it definitely took some time for us to be cool, be friends after our first encounter.
Can you let the people know some of the personal issues you was dealing with when you met Tupac and how he helped you?
Oh, wow. Not when we first met, actually. I wasn't dealing with those issues when we very, very first met. But during the course of Pac's incarceration, prior to him being incarcerated, I was in a situation where I was being brutally raped. I was in a domestic violence situation. I had a man who was a drug dealer who had me in his home and wouldn't let me leave. And Pac kind of caught wind of the situation and, found out what was going on. So he called somebody that called somebody. And, there were some people in the industry that knew him, that knew me, that were looking for me. And I just remember, the night that I ran out of this particular home, I just found myself in a really, really bad situation. That was a time around when he was, I believe it was before he was incarcerated, but he called me up, and I think at the time I had a beeper, I don't remember, but he found a way to get in contact with me, and he called up Spontaneous, who was someone that was very close to him. And he said, I gotta move her. I gotta move her to LA. And I just remember, him telling me he's dealing with some stuff and, I'm not really gonna understand what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And so before I knew it, Pac had moved me to LA. I just remember my clothes being in a trash bag and I'm headed to LA. So yeah.
Where were you when Tupac was found guilty on sexual assault? How did you feel about that?
I was actually in LA. How did I feel about that? I didn't feel good, I'll say that. You're talking about a woman who was sexually assaulted. You're talking about a woman who was sexually assaulted for years, in a situation where, she couldn't get out of. It wasn't a good feeling. Did I believe it? And no. I didn't believe it because of what I was dealing with and what I had dealt with. And to have someone move you from a whole different state to help you out, and to make life better for you. I didn't understand the dynamics of what was going on with that. It hurt because, you know, no one knew that this man, it's touchy for me, I'm sorry, that this man literally moved someone from another state that was dealing with this. I don't know. It's just.
Yeah, I'm happy
I don't know.
I'm happy you speaking on it simply because a lot of people don't know that story about you being a victim of rape or whatever, and everything Tupac did to help you. You know, so I'm happy you put that story out because, you know, he was accused of rape, you know, by Ayanna Jackson or whatever. Even though most people don't believe he did it, you know, it's still good for you to speak on that since you was a rape victim and you can, you know, speak on everything he did for you. You know, it don't make logical sense for him to rape a woman or whatever when he was out here, you know, helping rape victims. You know what I mean? So.
Right. Well, I can't say what he did for other women who were victims. I did know him personally. He did know my situation, and you know, it was just so heartfelt that he was like, "Listen, I'm moving you to LA. Pack your things, let's go." You know, and to hear such a thing and to see this, you know, going on, you know, you have to think in your mind, you know, are you serious? This person isn't a monster, you know, and we're talking about Tupac. I mean, we're talking about a man that can have any woman that he wants. Now, I will say this in defense of a rape victim, because every situation is different. I wasn't in the room. We didn't have a conversation about it. The only thing that was said to me was, yo, I didn't do that. In my mind, I don't feel that, but I was not in that room. I do not know what happened. Watching the videos, listening to the interviews, everybody has made their assumptions.
Right.
From watching those interviews and listening, you know, to her side of the story. As a rape survivor, there's no way that I'm going to want to have a conversation with that person at that moment. But being that I've been in those shoes, do I want to know why that person did that? What did you do it for? Why me? I have asked those questions. And I have, you know, had a conversation with the person who molested me. You know, why did you do this to me? 9 times out of 10, they don't have an answer. And based on the information that I got and what I've seen, you know, Pop was supposed to apologize. What are you apologizing for? But again, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. I can just say that he's not here to defend himself, to have a one-on-one interview or conversation. So it's just, for me, the timing is like, why didn't it happen back then? But again, I can't, and I'm sorry, I can't discredit, I can't say what I would want to say because I don't really know what happened. I still choke up. I know a lot of other women who are rape survivors and, you know, have had this happen to them. It's the hardest thing to talk about. You still have to muster up the strength from your belly to even allow those words to form out of your mouth.
Right. I mean, well,
So,
even in the interview, you know, I'm going to move on from this, but, you know, even in the interview, you know, at the beginning of the interview, she pretty much lies and say she didn't give Tupac fellatio in the club. Then when Vlad TV tell her, like, yo, you did an interview before saying you did, then she changed it up and say, well, I went down and I kissed it a little and I came back up. So it's a lot of inconsistent stuff in her interview, you know. And, you know, the fact that she came out 20 plus years later and spoke on it, that was a little tacky. But, you know, I personally don't believe it, but, you know, it is what it is.
yeah, It's really, honestly, we're talking about Tupac Shakur, and we're talking about him sexually assaulting someone. And here's my take on that situation. He was the only person convicted, but based on what I was told, he was not the only person in the room. I was only one person charged with something when other people were supposed to be involved.
Exactly.
That's my take on that. And I will forever wonder, why was one person convicted? Because if I'm assaulted, and I'm assaulted by 8 different people, I'm going to want to identify each and every last person that laid on top of me, each and every last person that was in the room when that happened to me. Why was one man convicted when it was supposed to be a situation where several people were in the room? If we all listen to the interview, there's one part that I remember where the young lady says, Pac made a statement, "I liked you so much that I wanted to share you." If a man likes you so much, he's not going to want to share you. But again, I wasn't in that room. I don't know what happened. I don't know the specifics. But as a woman who was sexually assaulted and literally was moved from Texas to California, I feel as though Pac could have said, listen, here's a situation with a woman that I know personally, that I've known for years, that was in that situation. Why would I silently move her to LA and then turn around and sexually assault somebody? It just, to me, no one ever knew that. I lived in a home with spontaneous ecstasy. A few of his artists, at the time, Tim Dog was, foreseeing all the things that were going on at the apartment to make sure that everybody was doing what they were supposed to do and things of that nature. Everybody was working in the studio and, living their life the way that Pac wanted them to live their lives. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's a little weird because in the interview, she made a comment saying that she was on top of Tupac, and somebody did bring that to my attention. Like, how can you rape somebody if they're on top of you? Like, if she's riding you, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just a little weird, but hey, I think that Tupac fans, Tupac lovers, Tupac family, I think that they can make their own assumption based on what they know, based on the person that they know, and based on the information that is provided to them via the internet. The internet wasn't popping back then. I mean, if the internet was popping back then, I think that a lot more information probably would have come out. Right. But I don't think that it would have come out 25 years later. That's just my opinion. It's been letters that's been floating on the internet for years now, and a lot of people didn't know the woman behind the letters that Tupac was writing to when he was in prison. So, yeah, man, speak on the letters. Like, who wrote each other first? Did Tupac write you first, or did you write him first?
I was living the life. I was in the streets. I wrote him first, and I wanted to make sure that he was okay. I wanted to make sure that he was okay, because again, I was in California, and I left California to go back to Houston, and I went to live my life. Life was moving way too fast. And it was just so much going on at the time that I was like, I have to go. I can't do this. It's, at that age, it was a lot for one person to deal with. And I was barely 18, 19 years old. And I just remember, telling Pac, like, hey, I have to go. This is a lot. And he was like, well, you can always come back, to LA. But again, this is around the time that, he was dealing with all this stuff. And so I remember being in Houston, and I got the news that, he was going to be gone for a little while. And so I decided to reach out to him, see how he was doing, see if everything was okay. And it was the hardest letter I think that I had to write. I have not allowed all the letters to float among the internet. I think the first letter that he wrote back, where he was like, let me see what you look like from head to toe, but I did write him first, and, he was happy about the letters. He said that, that they brought sunshine, around the cell or whatever. And, from there it was like, all right, you coming? When you coming to visit? But yeah, there's letters floating around.
So when Tupac went to prison for sexual assault or whatever, and the news broke out to you and you heard about it, that's when you wrote him when he was in prison.
Yeah.
Okay. And
yeah.
I also noticed on the letter that your name is Poochie. That's like your nickname, right?
That is my nickname, yes. Yes. He calls me, he used to call me Pooch. So, he was the only one that called me Pooch. I'm like, Pop, it's Poochie. He's like, nah, it's Pooch. But he would call me Pooch. But my nickname is, yes, I am Poochie.
So, did you know William Lucene? Because in the letter, it says that, it tells William Lucene to reach out to you or whatever. So did you have any kind of personal relationship with him, or you didn't? He just reached out to you and told you that Tupac want to see you or whatever, and that was it?
Basically, no, I did not know him personally. Basically, that was like let me delegate what's going on. Pac wants to see you on this day. This is what's going to happen. He's going to pay for this. You're going to pay for that. But no, I never knew him personally.
Did you visit him while he was in prison?
I did. If you look at the letters that are floating around, I had designated days. There were three of us. They can look those letters up on the internet, but there was three of us that went to visit him. And on those specific days, this person went on that day or these 3 days. Another person went on these 3 days. And then I went on these particular days. So, of course, yes, I did go visit him while he was in prison.
How was those moments like when you visited him? Like, how's his spirits? What was y'all talking about, if you don't mind me asking? Because I know some of the stuff is personal, so you probably don't want to speak on everything y'all was talking about, when you was visiting him in prison or whatever. But can you touch on some of it? Like, how's those moments like? Like, what was something y'all was talking about while, you was visiting him in prison?
Well, like I previously said, he told me that I was going to write a book. He was very uplifting. He was very inspiring, very motivating. He seemed to be in good spirits. But when you're in prison and you have people that you care about, coming to visit you, those are heartfelt moments, because you want to feel loved. You want to feel cared about. You don't want to be forgotten. So those visits were very heartfelt. They were very inspiring. They were very motivating. It was in New York. It was Dannemora, New York, Clinton Correctional Facility. So we could sit across from each other. I remember when I went to visit him the first time, I had on something that it's so funny because he was like, Pooch. I wore like this dress that was like a low cut dress. It wasn't very low cut. And the guard said, you can't come visit him today. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna see you. Hold on a minute. So his cousin, who actually went with me on the days that I was there, was like, yo, I got a sweater in the car. I was like, all right, cool. Put the sweater on. We get in, and we have to go through all our little, making sure we don't have contraband for him and this and that. So we get in there and we tell him the story about the dress that I have on up under the sweater. And he's like, Pooch, you know what they say I'm in here for. I was like, yeah, listen. You could get it. He started laughing. And, I just remember him saying, I'd always be one of his soldiers. And, He'd always care about me and just, always just really kept it real. Just, telling me how life could be and how life can beat you down. And a lot of stuff that he told me had happened. And I was like, what? This man is crazy. He doesn't know this, but the truth of the matter is he did. And a lot of things that he spoke on and that he touched on was real. And to look up and say, wow, it's 25 years later, 23 years later, and here I am, I've written 2 books and I've done this and I'm doing that and I still have more to do. It's like, wow. I truly believe that, that man was a godsend. I truly believe that God sends people down here to be that example of how God is real. Because looking at his life at such a young age and looking at him being in prison and still being inspiring and still being loving and still being, this is a man that when I met, we was about to throw hands. I was going to fight.
Right.
To being someone that's, a mentor and a friend and, someone that cares about me and cares about my well-being. It's like, wait a minute, are these 2 of the same people? The Gemini, though. It's like night and day with him. But he was real. And it's like, oh, my God, to be able to say I knew, I dealt with, I was a part of this person's life is one of the most life-changing experiences for someone of my age at that time. And even today, I'm like, oh, my God, I can say that, and it's powerful. It's inspiring. It makes me want to do more and do more among my community because that's what he was really about. He wanted to help people. He wanted to do that. And he did. Nobody never really knew that. They always thought he was like this womanizer. But he helps people, not just the men in his circle, but he helps the women in his circle.
How many times did you visit him in prison?
3.
Okay, cool. I know that had to be a depressing time, man, because at that time, man, he was like at the height of his career. He just had his first #1 album with Me Against the World. Then he had Dear Mama, which was a top 10 Billboard hit, man. Then once you do that, you have all this success. You got to go right to prison. So, I know that was a hard time for him, man.
This is what I would say to anyone. When you put yourself in those shoes, and I'm sure a lot of people who will listen to this interview will understand. When you are at the height of your career and something like that happens to you, that is the most devastating thing that could happen to you. But and this is one thing that he told me, everything in life happens for a reason. And he was like, for whatever reason, this is happening to me. But here's the thing, if you look at it, when he was snatched up out of snatched up out the street and put in prison, when Pac came home, he became a living legend. And just being in that situation and having to, look at where you are and why you're there. But what do you do with your time? You write, you pray, you try to figure things out. And I think that when he was locked up, I think that he became the greatest of the greatest of the greatest. I think that he touched and tapped into something within himself that said, I'm about to change the game for real. And that's just how I feel, because I've been in that situation before, and I've been in a situation where, I went to prison, and the first thing I thought about was, I got to go get it. And I got to be better than I was before I came here. And I think that was his mind frame, because you have to get yourself out of that mind frame of, man, I'm here, I'm locked up, this is life. This is my life right now. And when he came home, he hit the ground running.
So where were you when Tupac got released from prison? Like, where was you when the news was announced that he got bailed out?
At the time, I was in LA. I was packing my things, ready to head back to Houston. I was back and forth, to LA, Houston, back and forth. And I just remember all of us, at the apartment, in LA, like, oh my God, he coming home. But when he came home, it was like, well, we were something, we was talking, and, I think we started once or twice, but Pop was set out to change the world and to change the game. And he came home and he was like a rocket. It was like, wow, he's home, yay! And okay. Is he coming to the apartment? Anybody think that? I mean, you have to understand, he had to make up every time he was gone. He had to get out there and he had to live his life. And I was doing the same thing. I mean, I've done the same thing. When I came home, I was like, I want to put on my clothes. I want to put on my stuff. I want to put my jewelry on. I want to hit the ground running. When I came home, I did exactly what he said I would do. It took me years upon years upon years. And I didn't think about it until last year that, oh my God, this is real. He said I was going to write a book. And I wrote 2. And then I wrote another one. I'm like, oh my God. So I understand, what the concept was of what was happening surrounding our life and surrounding the people's lives that knew him. When he came home, he had to get it. He had to go get his money. He had to go get his life. And I understand that now. After all these years, because I now feel the same way, that now that you're home and now that you're dealing with life, now you have an opportunity to fix what was broken, fix it. And I think that's what he was doing. He was fixing what was broken.
Did you get to see Tupac when he got released from prison? Like when he got bailed out? Did you get to see him?
I saw him once. Very brief. After that, life was moving way, way fast. I mean, it was like a speed of light. And I found myself back in Houston, figuring life out.
Did you get to speak to him like on the phone or anything, or it wasn't really that, y'all wasn't really talking like that, like when he got, when he joined Death Row, Cause at that time, you're right, he was very, very busy at that time. He was doing a lot once he got released, and joined Death Row. So, I can only imagine. So, did y'all have any phone conversations or anything, or y'all wasn't really in contact after he got bailed out?
After he got bailed out, we did, speak with one another, but it wasn't to the magnitude of how things were before and while he was, away. But again, this is a busy man. You're not talking about somebody that can just stop. Okay, let's have a conversation. All right, let's talk. You have to understand that. And I had to understand that. I mean, I wasn't in his life like that. I mean, he had the woman he was dating. He had, artists that he was bringing out. He had Death Row. He had businesses that he was, having to tend to. So, I mean, I was in a very good situation. I was okay. I had a place to stay. I had money in my pocket. I had food to eat. The necessities that I needed to have, those things were afforded to me. And it was like, from there, the conversations became shorter. But I understand. I can understand it now. I didn't understand it back then because, I mean, truthfully, I was still like a teenager. And you're living this life. And you're, like I told you, you're around hip-hop royalty. This is like, it's great. It's awesome. This is the life. But then when you're in it and you're slowly in it, it's like, whoa, slow down, kindergarten. Hold on. So, I mean, for me, it was like I didn't get it then, but I get it now, because of the life that I live and the lifestyle that I live and the things that I'm trying to accomplish. I understand exactly what he was trying to do, and I respect it. And I respect the hustle, and I respect the grind. And I respect it so much that I look back on a lot of things that he taught me, and I'm slowly calculating my steps as to what my next move is going to be. How can I change a life? How can I change the world? How can I help somebody like he helps me?
So I have a 2-part question for you.
Okay.
Where were you and what was your reaction when you heard Tupac got shot in Vegas? And how did you feel when days later after Tupac got shot, he passed away?
I can sum that up in one word. Devastating. I mean, you're talking about somebody that took you out of a situation where your life could have been taken. Somebody that helped you, that helped groom you, that mentored you, that cared about you, that cared about what your life meant, while you're here. It was devastating. How did I feel? That's the only word that's the only word that comes to mind.
Was that like a
I was in
depressing time for you? Like,
no, I wasn't depressed. I was hurt. I was sad. I was devastated. I was in a state of shock, like, wow. Because my situation was different. You were somebody that, that was accused of something, somebody that went through a lot, somebody that was dealing with some real life shit. And everybody that was around him, he looked out for. He took care of them. And if you meant something to him, he showed it. It was heartbreaking. I was in Houston, and the news broke out. And everybody was like, oh, man, Punk got shot, this and the third. And, we all felt like he was going to pull through. We all felt like, all right, this man is invincible. And then when it was announced that, he was gone, I think that I feel with every person that loved him, that cared about himself, you felt like, no, this is not real. This is an Elvis situation. He's coming back. It was heartbreaking. It was gut-wrenching. It's like, no, this isn't real. For me, it was hard because I look back at how we met, why we met, and how my life changed because of me meeting this man.
Did it take you years to get over his death? Like what was the process like? Like how long did it take you to accept his death and get over it? Because I know it's something you can never get over, but you can learn how to live with, it. But did it take you years to process it and find a way to live with his death?
I think we never fully processed it. I think we all feel like, he's not really going. But no, it didn't take me. It didn't take me years. It took a little time. But I'm not going to say that it took me years because I had my own life situation happening. I had my own, life battles that were thrown at me. Excuse me. So no, it didn't take me years because I had to pick up the pieces that had fallen in my life. But I don't think any of us have fully processed or have really dealt with him being gone. I mean, we still talk about it. I still have conversations with Spontaneous. I still have conversations with certain people, about him. So, have we dealt with it? Yeah. Is he gone? Yeah. Do we miss him? Absolutely. He's not forgotten. He's not, he's not like, oh, okay, Pac's gone. We still talk about him like he's here, But I don't think anyone that has truly loved him and cared about him and has been in his circle, I don't think any of us have fully processed it and been like, okay, we're over it. Because he made such an impact on the lives of the people that were in his circle, his family, his friends. I mean, it's 25 years later. People still talk about Elvis. They still talk about Michael Jackson. They still talk about Prince. And they still talk about Tupac.
Right.
So he lives on. His spirit lives on. His name lives on. It'll live on for a very, 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 very long time. It will.
Do you feel a type of way because when it comes to Tupac, man, the only two women that's mentioned in his life is pretty much Jada Pinkett and Kadada Jones. They don't really mention you. They don't mention Keisha Morris. They don't mention Yo-Yo. None of them chicks, get mentioned or get any love. They only speak on Jada Pinkett and Kadada. Does that get to you?
No, not at all. I actually would love to meet Jada. I think she is a phenomenal woman. I think that she is an exceptional actress. I think that she is, I think she's amazing. Just watching, her life, she's an amazing mother. She's an amazing wife. I actually would love to meet her. I would love to. But it doesn't bother me. Not at all. No. And I'm sure it doesn't bother any other person that's, known him or been in his life. I don't think that bothers any of us, because every one of us have a different connection. And I think that there are reasons for certain things. I can't say why. There's a reason that, all of these, other women are, Madonna was mentioned.
Yeah, it's like,
I don't
know. Like, for example, when they did the All Eyes on Me movie or whatever, the only two females they mentioned in the movie was Kadada Jones and Jada Pinkett. Like, that's crazy that, Tupac married Keisha Morris, even though it was for a short period, she wasn't even mentioned in the movie. You wasn't mentioned in the movie. I don't even think they mentioned Madonna in the movie. I don't know if they name dropped her or anything, but like nobody, like Yo-Yo wasn't even mentioned in the movie. Like, what was your reaction to All Eyes on Me? Like, that didn't make you feel a type of way? Like, seeing All Eyes on Me and seeing them only using Kadada Jones and Jada Pinkett and leaving all the other women that was in Tupac life out?
I didn't feel a kind of way. For me, the movie was a good movie. Based on, things that I saw on the internet, there were certain people that were not really happy about the way that it was written. Overall, I felt like, the actor embodied Tupac to the fullest. I think the only thing that was hard for me to deal with was watching the shooting. I think that was like the hardest thing to watch. Like, because if you weren't there, you weren't on the street when it happened or anything like that, here it is, you actually see it, and it's actually portrayed in a way, I think that was the only part of the movie I was like, okay, I actually have to get up and kind of step out. But I'm not bothered. It doesn't bother me that, other women were talked about in the movie. Why would it? I don't know. I guess you would have to ask each individual that question individually. But for me, no, it didn't bother me. Not at all. I was when I met Park, 17 years old, all the way up until, 19, 20? So, no, it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
I know my connection. I have my letters. I have my pictures and, the letters and pictures that have surfaced on the internet. So I have my memories and, what I dealt with in my life. I would never be angry or mad that my name wasn't mentioned. No, not at all.
Yeah, just curious, man, because, even though Jada was mentioned in the movie, she felt the type of way on how they portrayed her in the movie. So, and
yeah, I saw that. It that went viral. I saw that. And I think she has every right to if something wasn't written the way that it happened or the way that, the way that it was depicted, I think that, she had a very valid reason to feel a way about what was portrayed, because she knows her connection, with Pop. And again, it's a very touchy subject, because every last person that has dealt with him, if you don't know the truth, don't put it out. If you don't know the connection, don't talk about it. If you don't know what happened, why are you speaking on it? And so I think that she had a very valid reason for feeling the way that she did. She even congratulated the actors who played Tupac and who played her. She she reached out to them on Twitter and told them what an amazing job that they did. I mean, she did that.
True.
So, you know, the way that they depict the situation and talked about what happened, she knows, Pac knows, and the people that surround that situation knows. So if she felt like, hey, this wasn't what happened, if she knows that's not what happened, I think I would have said something too. I would have been like, no, that didn't happen. It didn't happen that way.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, do you have any relationship with people that was cool with Tupac, like any of Tupac associates or friends?
I still talk to Lou from the Outlaws. He's now Muslim, Utah. I still talk to Spontaneous, who I actually lived with when I lived in LA, because he moved in with her and Tim Dog, and, you know, it was like a really big apartment. And that's, let me see, me and I think it's his cousin, I forgot his name on Instagram, but one of his cousins and we follow each other. I've actually gotten an email from Gaddafi's mom. I think it was Gaddafi's mom who reached out. I'd have to look at my email. Yeah, I believe that's who actually sent me an email. And it was in regards to some letters that, again, I'd have to look at the email to see, because it's been a while. But, you know, when the letters hit the internet, I did have some people to reach out to me and, you know, ask some questions. No one was upset or mad or anything like that. I think that, you know, some people wanted the letters that I have. So it was like, you know, certain letters I don't have anymore, because those letters, you know, were auctioned off. And then the letters that I've kept, I've pretty much said, well, you know, I'm not getting rid of these letters and these particular pictures. But the only people that I really talk to still on a regular basis would probably be Spontaneous and Utah.
Yeah, Napoleon, right? Napoleon from the Outlaws.
Yeah. Yeah, we speak on IG. You know, we've DM'd a few times. He told me about how he's living, you know, being a Muslim and stuff like that. He's always going to be family, you know. I believe that he's married with kids. I mean, yeah, we still communicate, but I think, you know, we just communicate on IG. Because we're all living very different lives. I mean, he's living a Muslim life to the fullest. So,
right. I heard, you know, we spoke on this about how Michel'le, he's a Muslim now, which is good. But back in the day, man, he was a wild dude. Man.
Yes, I knew him when he was like out there. We all were out there, though. I mean, you know, it's a complete 360. It is a huge change. Huge.
Hey, if I'm not mistaken, I'm from Houston. You already know that, but Tupac got some of his tattoos from Houston, right?
He did. He and I actually went to Dago's, and I do not remember what tattoos Dago's did, but we actually went in there together. I actually had given Dago some pictures that actually were up for a very, very long time in his tattoo shop. I don't remember what tattoos he got, but we both got tattoos that day. I actually tatted Tupac's name on the back with the cross, and Pac got a few that day. So but I don't remember I was young, so I don't remember which ones were done. Because I think he came back and had some other ones done, but he's had tattoos done by Dago's and I think some other guy. I don't know who the other guy was.
Yeah, they claim that Tupac got his Thug Life tattoo in Houston at that, Dago's tattoo shop. They claim he got that Thug Life tattoo.
I honestly don't remember that. I cannot say. I don't know. But yes, Dago did tattoo him. He and I went together. I actually went with Pac to get our tattoos. So yeah.
Yeah,
I don't honestly don't remember.
Yeah, that's a surreal moment, man. You remember I told you, you know, that I stayed right next to Dago's, tattoo shop. Like, I stayed at Skylane Apartments, which is like right next to it. Stayed there for 2 years, man. And that whole time I was a big Tupac fan, and I had no idea Tupac got his tattoos right next to my apartments. So, that's crazy for me to find that out. So
yeah, a lot of people didn't know that Pac was in Houston. I mean, the people that knew, like Faith, he had to do some stuff with Faith. So he was here. A lot of people didn't know that. A lot of people didn't know that Pac was in Houston.
Like, what would he do when he was in Houston? Like, who would he hang out with?
When Pac came to Houston, he had to deal with Faith. They were working on music. Pac was in the studio. It wasn't like, Pac come to Houston, Pac hang out. It wasn't nothing like that. I mean, a lot of people, Pac would be like, I never knew he was in Houston. I mean, when he came down here, he did some music with Scarface. They were in the studio. I mean, he probably, went out and had a few drinks, whatever, but it wasn't like, nothing really big. It wasn't nothing really big. Not like that, not that I knew of. I was here, we had saw each other a few times. And I just remember he was like, you're going to move to LA, right? I was like, nah, that's in that movie. Sorry. But it was work. When it was here, it was work. He got his cat, studio, then had a drink. But it wasn't, it wasn't like, oh, okay, I'm going to hang out. I'm going to, it wasn't that like that. No, it was work. It was like really, really, trying to get it in, to do the things that he wanted to do so that he could live the life that he wanted to live and take care of the people that he called his family and take care of his family. It was work, straight work.
So before I end this interview, I have a 2-part question for you. Can you share with me a moment between you and Tupac that you haven't told nobody yet? And what's your favorite Tupac song?
Ooh, a Tupac moment. When I stayed at Thug Mansion in Atlanta, and I accidentally broke a table, like a $10,000 table. It's so funny because I remember when I went to visit him, I had to tell him, hey, I broke a table. He's like, Pooch, you broke a table? I thought he was like really upset. I thought he was really mad. But he ended up saying, it's all good. But really, did you really break a $10,000 table? And I can't remember exactly what I was doing, but I remember standing on the table. I was mad about something, and the Outlaws were there. I was there. Billy was there. And I stood on the table, and I was talking. I was pointing. And the table just caved in. And I was like, oh, my God, I got to go tell him that the table is broke. I broke the table. So, yeah, that's one of those moments that nobody had ever knew other than the people that were in the house. And, you would have thought, like, Pac would get mad that a $10,000 table was broken. Like, it's a $10,000 table, but Pooch, come on, did you really break the table? I was like, yes, I broke the table. So, yeah. And what was the other question? I'm sorry.
What is your favorite Tupac song?
My favorite Tupac song? Oh, my gosh. Whew. Wow. One of my favorites is Death Around the Corner, and then it would have to be Ambitions of a Rider, and then Pain. Those are like my top 3. So it would be Death Around the Corner, Ambitions of a Rider, and Pain. I don't know, there's something about his voice in those particular songs. There's something about it, it's just like, you could just feel it, he's like, ooh, like, oh my God. Yes. Those 3 songs, they like really make me feel the whole, the Tupac.
So,
yes.
So anything you want to shout out or anything before we end this interview?
Follow me on Instagram, everybody. I'm at Dahlia McCutchen. That's DahliaMcCutchen. You guys just follow me. Um, Live life the way that you want to. Live life according to how you want your life to look. Live life on your terms. I don't really have any shout outs or anything like that, but to anyone that's listening, live your best life. Live life to the fullest. Don't worry about what other people are going to think or what they're going to say. Do what makes you happy. Do what makes you feel great on the inside. That's something that I learned from Pac. So, that's really all I have to give today.
All right. I'll leave a link below to your Instagram channel as well. So with that being said,
yes, I'm all over the internet. So you guys can follow by my name. You guys can follow me everywhere on the internet. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. So you guys just follow me if you want to. I don't mind people asking me questions. I don't mind people talking to me about Pac. I can't give all the answers that people want just based on my experiences. That's all I can give. But if you guys want to follow me, more than happy to, to say hi and all that great stuff. So I do thank you so much for this interview. I'm humbled. I really appreciate you having me on. It means a lot to me. Just like everybody else that has had me on their radio shows as well, on their YouTube channels. It means a lot to me. Thank you guys for supporting my book. You have a copy of my book. I testify. So, the support is overwhelming. I love, everybody in their support that they have, and respecting the fact that I didn't divulge a lot of what people thought that I would divulge in the book and what I would put out. But I do thank everyone for their support, and I thank everyone for supporting the fact that I didn't tarnish the Tupac name. It was not something that I wanted to do, and I was not going to do that because that was not my experience. But again, thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yes, indeed, and I'll definitely leave a link below to all your social media accounts. So with that being said, we out. Deuces.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.